and welcome to a brand new week on People's Voice on your #1 television station, VOP TV, where the stories that matters most take center stage as we always amplify the voices, concerns, stories, and perspectives of the everyday Nigerian citizens. That's you and I. I am Adefunke Jaisimi, and it's time to dive into the latest news from Nigeria. Let's begin with the news of Malam Nasir El-Rufai's expulsion from the Social Democratic Party SDP, which has sparked a lot of reactions across the board. But let's talk about this story that caught our attention. Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso, the 2023 presidential candidate of the new Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, has made a bold claim. He says his political bloc, Kwakwansia, remains the strongest and most powerful political group in Kano State, Nigeria. So let's break it down. Kwakwanso attributes his bloc strength to his investment in education and skills acquisition during his tenure as governor in Kano State. He founded 2 state-owned universities in Kano, Aliko Dagote University of Science and Technology and Northwest University. He also established a scholarship scheme that has benefited many students, with some now lecturers in higher institutions. Kwakwanso advises governors to invest in education and human capital development. He said it's quite important, and this is a key takeaway from his speech. Governor Abba Kabiru Yusuf also made some notable remarks, regretting that the previous administration destroyed legacies laid in the state. He promised to revitalize education at all levels and keep the dreams and legacies of the Kwakwansia movement alive. The convocation ceremony also saw several eminent Nigerians being awarded honorary doctorate degrees. It's clear that Kwakwanso's claim highlights the importance of investing in education and human capital development in building a strong political base. But yeah, there are some other stories in the news, and I'm going to be bringing them out with details. Let's begin with the federal government launching Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund. So according to reports, the federal government has launched the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund, TISSF, a loan scheme designed to support the welfare and development of tertiary institution staff in Nigeria. The scheme provides eligible staff with up to 10 million to promote financial stability and improve their well-being. We'll go on a break now and return with more news stories. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's continue with the story of the federal government launching the Tertiary Institution Staff Support Fund. So the scheme provides eligible staff with up to 10 million naira to promote financial stability, improve the quality of their lives, and support career advancement. In the stories in the news, some of the other stories in the news says President Tinubu's addressed the UNN convocation. So in a related development, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu announced that the 2025 federal budget allocated a record 3.52 trillion naira to education, representing a 61.47% increase from what we had last year. The president emphasized the importance of education in driving economic growth, social stability, and technological advancement. He urged graduates to use their education as a tool for change and drive progress under the Renewed Hope agenda. Meanwhile, the African Democratic Congress ADC is pursuing the registration of the Advanced Democratic Party ADA as a political party. Some members of the ADC have threatened to challenge the takeover of the party by political heavyweights. However, the ADC coalition, led by interim national chairman David Mark and national secretary Ralph Aregbesola, has clarified that all legal requirements were sorted out before they resumed office. But how true is this? I think there's so much to deal with when it comes to this newfound relationship that has taken the coalition to the ADC. But in another development, some northern leaders under the auspices of the National Political Consultative Group North have adopted the ADC as a platform to advance the cause of the region. The group, chaired by the former secretary to the government of the Federation, Babache Lawal, vowed to counter any attempt by the ruling All Progressives Congress APC to rig the 2027 general elections. But yes, Senator David Mark, interim national chairman of the ADC, also lamented that too much blood has been shed in the northern region and urged the North to look for solutions to their plight from within. He emphasized that it is important for unity and social cohesion in addressing the challenges facing the North in Nigeria at the moment. Yeah, finally in the news this afternoon, the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has notified the general public in Lagos State of a planned 25-day maintenance of the Omotosho Ikeja West 330 kV power line, which will result in intermittent power outages in Lagos State. Eco Electricity Distribution Company, EKEDC, and Ikeja Electricity, IE, have also notified their customers of the planned outage. So in case you're wondering why you are in total darkness for so long, it's been in the news since last week, calling on residents to bear with them because this maintenance is important and it will be on for 25 days between the hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Well, those are some of the stories making the headlines at the moment. But as we explore these stories and more, we'd like to hear from you. We want to know what you make of these stories, which of the stories is the biggest for you, and of course, how you react to some of the conversations we'll be having in the studio. So do well to be a part of the conversation by calling or text us to share your thoughts with us on 090-447-32605. 090-447-32605 is the number to call or text us via WhatsApp. Follow us on social media at VOPTV Live. You can also use the hashtag People's Voice on VOPTV. And on YouTube, we have Voice of the People TV. And for the meantime, you can also subscribe on our alternative channel at VOPTV Plus. Kindly hit the subscribe button, and together we can make our voices heard. That's all for now. We'll be back after this break to put more perspective to the shocking news of Malam Nasir El-Rufai's expulsion from the SDP. Please stay tuned. Glad to have you stay with People's Voice on VOP television. Well, in a shocking update, the Social Democratic Party, SDP, has expelled former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai from the party and imposed a 30-year ban on him from associating with the party. I think that's the most shocking part of it. It's expected when people have differences, or maybe when purpose is not clear and you need to take a stand to expel people, to suspend people from the party. But expelling and going as far as imposing a 30-year ban on him feels like something new in our political landscape. But yes, this decision was made by the SDP's National Working Committee, NWC, due to El-Rufai's alleged violation of the party's constitution, ideology, manifesto, principles, and practices. So here is the reason for the expulsion. They talk about false membership claims. According to reports, El-Rufai falsely presented himself as an SDP member on social media, despite not registering with the party at his ward level as required by the party's constitution. There's also the allegation of forgery of documents. So he allegedly forged documents claiming membership and assigned himself as number 1 in the SDP membership register of Unguwa Saki local ward in Kaduna North local government area. There's also the allegation of destabilizing the party, where it's being said that El-Rufai is being accused of attempting to destabilize the party through unconstitutional activities, including promoting other political parties and sponsoring dissidents to call an illegal national election executive committee NEC meeting in the party. Another allegation is on intolerance and persecution. They talk about his past tenure as governor in Kaduna State under the All Progressives Congress, saying it was marked by alleged intolerance and persecution of SDP members. But you begin to wonder if they just discovered all of this and what exactly is happening. But the consequences of this is the fact that El-Rufai is banned from applying for membership, identifying with the party's name, logo, or participating in any of its activities for the next 30 years effective immediately. This is funny and not funny, because if you add 30 years to El-Rufai's age, I really do not know what his position would be, I mean, he might just want to be an elder statesman even right now. So 30 years more is literally saying that we don't want to have anything to do with your party, your person, or whatever you stand for. But the SDP has also urged its members and the public not to have any dealings with Nasir El-Rufai, as he is no longer a member of the party. The party has also called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and relevant agencies to take note of El-Rufai's non-member status. Well, interesting times are here. The SDP emphasized its commitment to national patriotism, party discipline, ideological clarity, and internal democracy, inviting Nigerians who share these values to join the party through lawful and transparent means. So maybe on behalf of SDP, we just need to ring this out loud if you are interested. But it's never a one-man show on People's Voice. It's time to get talking. It's time to dive deeper into these issues and get the best of analysis. I'm being joined now by VOP TV in-house senior analyst, Mr. Dele Fanimo. Good afternoon, Mr. Fanimo.
Good afternoon, Adefunke. It's been nice coming together again after a week.
After a week, it's always, I mean, if I can have you on the show every day, I would do that. But let's get started. Let's talk about this. I don't want to call it drama, neither will I say conundrum, because it feels like all of these things were preempted and people like you are forcing things like this. But I don't want to preempt you too. What do you think led to the Social Democratic Party, SDP, expelling Nasir El-Rufai and imposing a significant 30-year ban on a whole malam? I mean,
you see, for those who understand the politics of this country and those who understand the antecedents of politics and politicians in this country, it shouldn't come to you as a surprise. You see, most of these things, and I've had people calling me from across the world, beyond Nigeria, asking me, am I a soothsayer? Am I this or am I that?
You reached to ask, actually. Because even for me, when the news broke out, I was just like, no, I just have to have you on the show because you said this, that relationship wasn't going to work.
You see, when the owner of the land is the owner of the property on the land, you can't build something on nothing. It's not going to sail through.
Right.
When they rushed to SDP and Rufai as a forerunner to Atiku, hijacked the whole party and they were muzzling those they met, I knew it was going to happen. And from that day, I said, these people had to look for a safe haven, that place will be too hot for them in matters of days. And this is the result you are getting. For those who are smarter than El-Rufai, they quickly jumped ship, went to ADC, which is another landmine. You recall that about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I told you, I said ADC is another landmine, that they cannot find comfort in ADC. That is why Peter Obi is very smart. He made sure he has a leg in Labour Party while testing the waters in ADC.
So do we now term corny politicians smart? Because this is playing on the intelligence of people that are faithful to your cause.
Any Nigerian that is faithful to these people's cause is unfaithful to himself.
That's the coalition.
Either you call it coalition, either whatever you call it, even El-Rufai as a person. How can you say you want to follow El-Rufai blindly in this country with his antecedent? You know the way Obasanjo described him in his book. If it was not true, an El-Rufai would have gone to court to challenge Obasanjo.
Or write a book.
Or write a book to counter it. I read the accidental civil servant. I'm a public servant. And all the lies that were concocted in that book, I knew it. You know? So, what is happening is that El-Rufai came to SDP regardless of those who built that party. SDP had better showing in the past And even till today, they still have members in the National Assembly.
Right.
Now, you got there, a party that has been existing over the years. You got there, no consultation, no deliberation, no meeting, nothing. You just sat on them. It's just like somebody coming to your house when you know that you have your CFO. You have all your deed of assignment and everything, and then you just come and say.
But are you not going to condemn the desperation of these party owners too? Because it feels like when they hear big names, they do not think far. They do not try to do consultation, sit together as a team and know what to do. They are always, most of the time, they are usually carried away by the presence of, oh, the former this, the former that.
Look, the essence of forming a political party. There used to be a man, I don't know if he's still alive now, who registered 5 political parties. Just one person. I think he's from Edo State. And as soon as you want one, you just, okay, you want this, okay, take this. Just like some people during Jonathan's era, they got 5, 7 licenses for radio and television. They still have it. So they bought it for 5 million naira at that time. Now, if you want a television or radio license now,
they will sell one of theirs.
It goes for as much as 50 million naira. So somebody who bought in 2011, 12, and 13 for 5 million naira and is selling it for 60, that's profit. So the same way, these political parties, they will sit jejely, organize their NEC meeting, NWC meeting and all that, waiting for the beautiful bride that will come, and they will negotiate.
Expelling him at this time.
Peter Obi negotiated with LP. That was why he had no problem coming to LP. Right. But not when you just sit in one place and you come together as a coalition and say, okay, which party can we go to? Just march on there like a military man, taking over occupied space, and then you come. And you think those people will not fight.
But
and don't forget,
him and banning him is not too much. Ban for 30 years, Mr. Fadima. How old is El-Rufai?
Shebi, the ban is not cast in iron.
Okay, so it can be lifted.
It can be lifted. But they just want to show him that, look, next time you learn your lesson, that nobody comes to another person's house and begin to say, bricklayer, carpenter, this is the site, build this. In fact, if I were the owner of the land, I would allow him to build. Then I will go to court. And that was exactly what they did. I allow him to build, go to court, and I will say, look, evacuate your property. It is in my line.
But a lot of people do not share your thoughts, saying that, oh, I will allow him build, I will do this before that. Some people still think that there's so much that needs to have been done before this decision was made. How will El-Rufai's expulsion from SDP impact his political ambition and career ahead of 2027? And do you think SDP has anything to lose kicking out in Malam Nasir El-Rufai?
The El-Rufai has no political value.
He's has no political value?
Yes, he's stranded. He's stranded. And I repeat again, El-Rufai is politically stranded. Just like Amishi is politically stranded.
But El-Rufai was still relevant in the last election.
He was relevant because he was holding sway in Kaduna, and he has not left the party. He has not left the governorship seat at that time. So he has the state resources at his disposal, and he has people who must answer yes to him if they want to survive. Now he's no longer there, and that questions is the credibility of his stay as governor of Kaduna State. Look at what Obasanjo is doing in Kaduna. In less than 2 years, what was usually a bedlam, now everything is stabilized. There is no crisis. Nobody has come to...
No, maybe reduction. There are still a bit of here and
Show me the quantum of crisis in Kaduna now compared to when El-Rufai was there. It was a clear case of ethnic cleansing, just as we have in Benue now and Plateau. Kaduna South was in trouble throughout the 8 years of El-Rufai, and he had no answer to it because his kinsmen were the one attacking those indigenes.
Allegedly.
What is allegedly? It is clear. The reports are there. So, what we are saying is, he is politically stranded. The Yoruba will say, whatever you want to showcase outside must come from inside.
Right.
Now, his local government is not comfortable with him. The state is not comfortable with him. So before you can say you want to play yourself into national reckoning, you must also have your base as a requisite. El-Rufai no longer has Kaduna. Let El-Rufai go to Kaduna today and challenge Sani.
Do you think
He is still having a case that has not been resolved. 456 billion naira.
Right. But do you think all of this is happening because he left the All Progressives Congress out of anger? We heard Bukola Saraki making a statement like, whatever the PDP wants to do should not be out of anger. The people should be able to sit down and make decisions. Sheyi Makinde too was talking about how it's important to make decisions with your clear heads. Do you think El-Rufai has found himself in this position because he didn't think through what the future holds and was just about anger towards the president and the governor, and he just maybe lost everything that he had built, that's if he actually really built so much?
You see, there's a golden rule. When you are angry, don't take decisions. When you are happy, don't make promises. Because most of the time, when you take decisions when you are angry, you are not likely to get it right. And you don't fight your enemy with your two eyes closed. Because you don't even know the direction the enemy will be coming from.
Right.
So you will be left stranded. And that is exactly what has happened to Rufai. All the little credibility he had built over the years, he bungled it with the way he stormed out of APC. Just because if you knew that you had anything to do with a political party, and at some point you feel that this party is not getting it right, you won't wait until you are disgraced at the National Assembly at ministerial screening before you storm out of that party. It would have been ideal. People would have respected him if El-Rufai had opted out of APC before that screening.
So it will look more like it was about his faithfulness or relationship with Buhari, and I'm done with, I've done whatever I can do.
Since I've done with my service in Kaduna, and my principal had left government. So please don't even list me as a candidate for ministerial appointments.
Do you see any similarities between an Atiku Obi storming out of the PDP, and Atiku Abubakar storming out of the PDP ahead of Jonathan's election, and what El-Rufai is doing ahead of the 2027 election, and even a Peter Obi storming out ahead of the primaries of the PDP? Do you see it as a weakness, or people who genuinely could not just take the debt thrown around within political space?
You see, politics is a gamble. And it's just like a coup. When you plan a coup, there are two options: succeed and benefit maximally. Fail and face firing squad.
Nobody wants to fail.
So Mimiko tried it.
Right.
In Ondo State. He was ready to plan a coup and kiss the bullet. He went, planned the coup, even when Obasanjo was still there.
Right.
And because of the groundswell of support he got from people of Ondo State at that time, he felt he could carry on.
And
Mimiko did not have a war chest against Agagu, who was sitting atop government resources. But he had more than enough goodwill for him to contest with a sitting governor. And when the result was manipulated, he went all the way, won, and he served his 8 years. And he's still kicking. He's still he's still of relevance in Ondo politics today.
I remember when Arakunri came in, the story was like, what was he coming to do? Because Mimiko had done so much. I was in Akure at the time. I was a student at the Federal University of Technology, so I understand.
But you can't. Atiku, as a politician, has every right to open his compass and find where his interest could best be served.
Right.
There was nothing at stake for Atiku when he opted out of the latest resignation. He just felt he needed to goad in some people who can't see because of hatred and blind malice. So let me use these people galvanize them, and leave PDP that they already know my game plan. They already know where I want to go. They already know that it is my interest. So it felt ADC, but unfortunately ADC is now falling like a pack of cards right before him. Well,
let me ask you this. So what do you think are the terms and implications of the coalition arrangement between El-Rufai and opposition leaders? Because, you know, while El-Rufai was supposedly in the SDP, it was a part of the coalition. And of course, opposition leaders were doing everything they could do to ensure that the coalition worked. So what are the implications of this arrangement between them?
El-Rufai was a placeholder, even when he went to SDP. He was a placeholder. And they left him in SDP to see if there could be a kind of appeasement for those who don't want them to stay in SDP. So the coalition is still hovering and groping in the dark, finding their compass, which they are not likely to get until the election.
You never say never, Mr. Fanimo. You can't
I know. You see, there are indications why they cannot get it right.
I like when I challenge you and some of these things comes to play.
Yes.
But
you can't have two captains in one ship. And unfortunately, ADC has about 3 captains. And these are people that what matters to them is Aso Rock.
But in their latest press release on Friday, they agreed that whoever wins the ticket will have the full support of every other person in the party, both contenders and, of course, floor members.
Now, so, let me take you back a little. There is this kit. 3 dogs. They label them north, east, south. I mean, north, east, west. Now, west dog, labeled as west, and east dog, they were fighting over a bone. You know what the north dog did? Just stood by and was watching them. When they almost killed themselves, he just went there and picked the bone and left.
In other words?
In other words, that's the game now. So whoever has enough brain to decode what I've said, who understand politics and who understand the dynamics of politics, will understand what I'm talking about. You see, the point is, everybody will go to the war front and determine what he wants to take back. Either spoil of the war, maybe a beautiful woman from the captives, or any other thing.
Or the spoil.
Or the spoil. So, now somebody is fighting group interests. And Nigerian politicians are very smart. They make personal problem national problem. When Wike started the wahala with PDP, it made it look like, no, Atiku has done the service. Everybody was clapping for him. But I knew then that Wike was just playing himself to the reckoning of the opposition party so that it can be used. And as soon as he was absorbed in APC to do dirty job against PDP, he grabbed it with 2 hands. He forgot that national interest he was claiming to protect. And that's the way they are, politicians.
Is it not protecting the national interest again?
Which national interest?
I mean, he said he was only going to support a southern candidate, irrespective of the vehicle that was
carrying. Does he need to announce to us that he will support national interest? His convoy is as long as that of the president now.
I mean, I saw a breakdown of that today, and I'm like, God, I beg.
The security details of Wike is even at par with that of the president today.
Some people say, nah, man, we sabi. But let's talk about El-Rufai's past record as governor of Kaduna State. Do you think this...
He didn't do well. He didn't do well.
So what role does El-Rufai envision for himself in the opposition coalition? And do you think he's positioning himself for a presidential role?
He doesn't even...
Do you think he's positioning himself for a presidential role?
He cannot, except he wants to delude himself. And that's what politicians do. Politicians are incredibly optimists. Even when they know that they are going to dead end, they will tell you, especially when they are goaded by their sycophants around them. Somebody who cannot be House of Rep member, and you are telling him that he must come and contest for governorship. Everybody will follow him. Do you know that it's that bad that as you are seated, if somebody says come and get governorship form of one of these ICU placed political parties, that moment that you collected that form free of charge because you are not going to pay for that kind of nomination, they start addressing you as excellency man.
Honorable.
No, as governorship candidate, you are now an excellency man. And if you are not careful,
am I not excellent?
You know, so why are we deceiving ourselves?
Mr. Fadimo, am I not excellent? For them to even say come and pick up our ticket, it shows that there's a trait of excellence in me. Like I was saying,
there was a time a friend of mine picked one moribund ticket as of assembly member.
Oh my God!
And he was raising funds. I said, Ogbeni, you are raising funds to take care of yourself. You are not contesting this election.
But really, Mr. Fadimo, if you say that El-Rufai does not have any chance at the presidency, how do you think this decision made by SDP to expel El-Rufai may affect the party's internal dynamics and relationship with other opposition?
You mean SDP?
Yes, with other opposition groups.
You see, when you see something that is toxic hovering around you, the only way to do is to take it out.
So you think that they were in a toxic relationship?
What relationship did El-Rufai have with SDP? For him to just come and ride roughshod on them and begin to make announcements. You have not registered for a political party and you begin to make statements on behalf of that political party.
But they saw
Who does that?
They didn't complain at the time.
They won't complain. They won't complain. That's why I gave you that analogy. Somebody comes to build in your house and you have your seal of hope. Let him finish now. Should be a person will get land and get house. The house automatically becomes yours. And if he doesn't want you to inherit that house, he will take it out. Or you help him with bulldozer. That is it.
Let's come to talk about the major political parties. We saw, like I said earlier, I've talked about a lot of defection. I mean, it's honorable for Atiku Abubakar. He deserves an honorary award, defecting the third time from the same. Defecting from the third time.
Because his defection is 5.
Exactly. No, from the party. So defecting, leaving, coming back, I mean, it deserves so much accolades. I've talked about Atiku Abubakar, which a lot of people said.
Should we call that popularity or notoriety?
No, you know, a lot of people called that an attempt made to help Jonathan lose election that became successful. We saw Peter Obi leave the PDP ahead of the primaries. The primaries was scheduled for, I think, 27th of May, and he left about 22nd or 23rd of May the same year. Felt like, I'm done with you people. We've seen Rotimi Amaechi, after President Bola Ahmed became president, just barely 2 years into office, is now hungry. El-Rufai, you've talked about him over and over again, how he could have made these decisions and maybe people would have applauded him, but he had to wait till he could not get an approval from the Senate before he discovered that the APC was in a mess and trouble. With all of these things put together, what can you say about Nigerian politicians without the power? Are they truly weaklings?
You see, let me also, I like giving analogy for better understanding of situations.
In 30 seconds. Okay, go ahead.
You see, it's just like the masquerade. When the masquerade is somewhere dressing up, you can slap the masquerade, you can draw his clothes and all that. But the moment it begins to show off in the public, that masquerade becomes your master. You cannot do anything to that person anyhow. The same way after the show, after the drama and everything, when that masquerade retreats, it becomes an ordinary person. You see, remove these so-called paraphernalia of office, titles and all that. These people are ordinary like you and I. And
I feel like I'm stronger than them because a lot of things have shocked me in this life and I'm still standing. These people, just how many months of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in office, even Matiku living at the time, it just feels like whenever there's a need to eat and they can't get a buffet, they are not ready to settle for what is left, then they come out crying.
Let me tell you. Have you ever visited a politician's house? Election or no election? Especially those ones that have been there and probably they lost out and they want to go back. They would have acquired enough babalawos. They would have acquired enough woli.
Yes,
prophets.
we even had a prayer group for one of my...
They would have acquired enough affairs.
Right.
Then they would have acquired thugs of power. In power, these people must be serviced. The one that takes cow every month, you must give him cow to sustain you. Otherwise, he will go after you. The area boy that takes average of 100,000 naira every week to buy Indian hemp, to buy crack, ice, and all these drugs, you must service continuously.
No, they can be reduction. I mean, where do they expect them to
Wait
get money
now,
from?
because they will come at you, some with subtle threats, some with blackmail, especially those ones that are close to you, that escort you to where you do certain things that must not be heard in public. So you are compelled to service them. And in the course of service, don't you know that after office, check any of these politicians after office, 2-3 years down the line, they are broke. The former governor of Ondo State, Olumilua, shortly before 1998, was it 1998? I can't remember now. I think it was 1998 when they were preparing for the Fourth Republic.
Yeah, 1998.
Do you know that I was in an event in Abeokuta? I sat with him like this, and I was looking at him that this was my former governor, and what I saw on him was one of the Guinea brocades he was wearing when he was governor. And the back was almost faded.
No, you might just like that particular one.
I
don't think that's been
for
broke.
the optics. For the
I
optics.
don't think that's been broke. I
Wait,
need to move away
for the
from
optics.
that story.
If not for Lam's son that went to House of Rep, Lam was broke before he died.
Really?
And when I talk about these things, it is not that how much food can Lam eat after he left office. There's no way Lam can eat 5,000 naira food at a sitting. But yet, these people, they will still be trooping to his house. The only thing that will stop them from trooping to his house is when he's dead.
Well,
and when he died, his son refused to take over. Look at Adedibu.
it's a life contract that they signed with this people.
That is what I'm saying. So they are perpetually under severe pressure to answer to various calls. Ordinary councillor will provide money for the girlfriend or woman friend of the party leader if the father dies and he wants to bury because he has to buy cow. It is on the neck of the councillor. The youth leader whose wife is putting to bed, it is the councillor that must do the naming ceremony.
Mr. Fanima, at this point, there's no way we are living in our reality. We keep complaining about these things, but I think sometimes we actually deserve. So
sometimes when you blame the leaders, blame the followers. Because they put them under severe pressure.
It's quite unfortunate, but we need to move away from that story and go on a break now. When we come back, we'll talk about the African Democratic Congress, ADC, playing strong opposition, maybe till they leave ADC to Ada. But they are calling for a full, whichever Ada they choose to absorb. But they are calling for a full audit of loans taken by the federal government over the last 10 years, citing concerns over fiscal vandalism and unsustainable debt. Please stay with us. We'll be back. Thank you very much for being a part of People's Voice. Yes, we're back to talk about the African Democratic Congress, ADC, that is calling on the federal government, saying that it needs to take a full audit of loans taken by its administration over the last 10 years. That's talking about the administration of the All Progressives Congress from the time of late former President Muhammadu Buhari to the second year of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, citing concerns over fiscal vandalism and unsustainable debt. So here are some key points about the issues. Total public debt. Nigeria's public debt may exceed 200 trillion by the end of 2025, with the current debt standing at over 149 trillion since the APC took over in 2015. This was highlighted, but they did not talk about the debts that have been paid, recoveries that have been made, and some of the infrastructure and projects that these debts were actually acquired for. Just to talk about borrowing rates, saying that Tinubu's administration has borrowed more in 2 years than the Buhari government in 8 years, with an average annual borrowing of 49.8 trillion compared to 4.7 trillion naira under Buhari, which the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration has debunked, calling it mere rumors and citing what the economy was at the time, what these projects are for, and of course asking for real data before such claims can be made. There's also the talks around debt servicing. Over 60% of Nigeria's national income is now used to service debt, leaving limited funds for essential public services and infrastructure development. And yes, the impact on the economy, the ADC argues that the borrowing spree is suffocating small businesses, driving investors away, and imposing harsh taxes on ordinary Nigerian families. They talk about loan utilization, saying that the party, that's the ADC, is questioning the effectiveness of loan utilization, pointing out that despite mounting debt, critical sectors like infrastructure, education, and healthcare remains underfunded. And yes, they're demanding for transparency, saying that they demand full disclosure of all loan agreements signed over the past decade, including terms, interest rates, payment timelines, and final recipients of the loans. The ADC's demands are driven by concerns that the government's borrowing habits are unsustainable and will be a burden for future generations, with debt repayments without corresponding economic benefits. They urge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to prioritize fiscal development, meaningful reforms, and responsible spending to challenge Nigeria's economic challenges. Yes, I was smiling at some points. It's quite interesting. This is the kind of opposition that we look forward to. But I mean, in my opinion, maybe a good step in the right direction when opposition puts the ruling party on their toes. But some have argued that this conversation would have been better off to do a proper evaluation of our nation at the beginning of the Fourth Republic till date. I mean, it's not even up to 30 years yet. So people are saying that the breakdown should be from the beginning, just so we can understand how we got here and who should be made accountable. But I still have with me in the studio VOP TV senior analyst, Mr. Dele Fanemo, to do justice to this conversation. And I always like the elders talk about things like this because, like I say, your generation was just there. You've been there looking at all these things happening. So we need to hear from you. Mr. Fanemo, what are the implications of Nigeria's public debt exceeding, according to reports by the opposition, 200 trillion by the end of 2025, and how will it impact Nigeria's economy?
Let me tell you straight that I commend this line of opposition.
Right.
And you see, opposition is not just about talking, shouting, and addressing the sentiment and emotions of the general public without any clear-cut direction. I want to salute a colleague in person of Abdullahi.
I knew you were going to mention Abdullahi.
Yes, I need to salute his courage and his sagacity. He had toned down the level of hysteria in opposition to the extent that anytime he churns out opposing views on what the government is not doing right, it's difficult to fault it.
He actually improved on this role, and we're happy for it because when he started, we wanted to take the usual
you know,
opposition style.
So for me, I want to salute his courage and the level of intellect he has brought to this.
Okay.
But then, on the issue of debt, you see, the truth about it is, no nation, even in the advanced countries, America, Britain, Germany, France, there is none of these that don't have debt overhang. And so Nigeria cannot be an exception. But when you want to ask questions from informed point of view, from the basis of knowledge, it is not a crime to borrow money.
Okay.
But the question we should be asking ourselves is, to what end? And what is the scorecard on implementation of this?
Yeah, that's why they said they want to see where the monies went to,
and
the
so
recipients
if they are calling for a probe or a form of clarity, it's fine, it's okay, because there have been some spendings that I found untenable. Not even with this government alone, even with the past governments. For instance, how do you situate borrowing money to take care of the girl child? It's so innocuous. It's so intangible. It's just latent. It's not something you can grab with two hands.
Right.
First, who is this girl child that you have empowered? Do we have them in the communities?
And how come we're not seeing?
We have not seen any testimony to show that I was like this 3 years ago. 1 year ago, I was like this. Today, I am like this. When the likes of Elumelu were intervening in Africa, we saw businesses that sprang up.
We don't even want testimony of one person. If you are
borrowing
so much money, which you have a lot of people coming out.
You understand what I'm saying? And so, if you take money on behalf of this girl child or this vulnerable set of Nigerians, at least the communities would also see that, look, these people were like this, and this is out of the result of, these are the results of
more like
intervention.
Evidence day. But let's talk about the claims.
To me, that to me, I was not comfortable with that kind of arrangement. And for somebody who was in charge of humanitarian ministry to say that school children during COVID-19, that everybody was at home, who ate over 230 billion naira food. Home feeding. Who can give me a particular video of where somebody knocked at anybody's door during COVID-19 and dropped food stuff? I've not seen any up to today. Well, so those are the reasons why we need to question whatever anybody is pushing out.
And that is why people are arguing that it shouldn't be about 10 years. The fair thing to do is to probe this Fourth Republic from the beginning. You
see, for me, it will be difficult to want to nail somebody like Obasanjo. Obasanjo cancelled our debts. Even as much as I don't really like Obasanjo's government, because he was the only person that would have put this country on the right pedestal.
Well, it's not just about Obasanjo now.
No, I'm just telling you. We are starting from 1999.
The journey, exactly. We are pressed for time, Mr. Fanimo. In about 30 seconds, what does the ADC mean by fiscal vandalism? How does it relate to the government's borrowing habits?
He said they get money and they squander it. And it's for the government to react. I'm not going to be the one to react for the government.
So what does fiscal vandalism mean?
Fiscal means monetary policies.
Then vandalism.
Then destroying. So put them together.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Dele Fanimo, for being a part of the conversation today. To our viewers, thank you so much. There's so much to talk about because it's quite important that our government can prioritize fiscal discipline meaningful reform and responsible spending to address Nigeria's economic challenges and reduce the burden of debts on future generations. Well, that's how we draw the curtain on People's Voice today. I am Adefunke Jaisimi, and I strongly believe in this project Nigeria. Nigeria will be great again. Good afternoon.